picture book unboxing is My Indigo World, A True Story of the Color Blue by Rosa Chang. And it is published by MineditionUS. And I think they're an imprint of a bigger, yeah, they're an imprint of Astra Books for Young Readers. So I was offered this book over email, and a lot of times like I'm so behind in email that I just like, it takes me forever, and then by that time like it's the book launch has been, you know, months past. But I saw this one right away and I was like, oh yeah, no, I definitely want it, because like my family has a special relationship with Indigo, in that my two daughters, when they were in high school, they started their own company where they would take in the beginning thrifted clothes that were white but like, you know, grubby, and they would dye them with tie-dye technique, but they would use indigo. And so they used a natural reduction of indigo, and everything looked, you know, really beautiful and oceany. And they built a whole business out of this in high school. They sold $100,000 in 4 years. It was pretty amazing. And then I just, you know, just because, you know, they had a company called Indigo Clothing Company, and, you know, they're dyeing everything, and our house was turning blue everywhere. You know, I paid more attention to indigo, and I found a video. I forget what, maybe my Great Big Story or something, some kind of video about the history of indigo. And it's, you know, the shibori technique of dyeing, kind of like, I would say more fancy tie-dye, using indigo. It's a Japanese technique, and indigo was used during the samurai era and even before that. But it was used especially for robes for the samurai soldiers, because the indigo, it's like, the indigo color is like dark blue, and ninjas, even though there's so many, you know what I mean, books about them wearing black, it actually was like a navy blue, which was probably indigo, because, you know, you don't get black dye in the natural world. But the indigo itself has an antiseptic quality, so if you're injured, the dye in your robes would help the wound like not get infected. So I thought that was pretty amazing, because that's also my kids' Japanese heritage. So let's learn more about the indigo world. And so in this case, Rosa's Korean. So, you know, I think indigo is many places. My kids are actually half Korean, quarter Japanese, quarter Chinese. And so here they learn the ancient Korean method of indigo dyeing. So I think they dye in a different way, you know, because the Japanese shibori technique is a little bit more like I call fancy tie-dye. And here she's wearing a hanbok. But she's going to Jeju Island, which is this, it's kind of like now, it's kind of like a fancy resort island, my husband says. Like, it's like beachy, and like, you know, like K-pop stars will have like a summer house there. Oh, look how beautiful this page is. I also just think the color indigo, and also the way it dyes so naturally with gradations, is like so beautiful, that I have some actually hand-dyed, hand-woven Japanese textiles that are like pretty old, that I've made into pillows. And I just think it's, you know, just like the fact it's like artisan dye, hand spun, hand dyed, hand woven. I just think it's so incredible, like such incredible craftsmanship. And indigo just gets more beautiful with time, how it softens and it breaks down and it fades. And so yeah, people have been growing indigo all over the world. Kimono from Japan, woven rug from Guatemala, fabric from West Africa, and denim jeans. I didn't know that. I just knew Japan. That is so cool. So here they are growing it. And this is all about how you convert it into dye. And here's all the different, you know, some examples of how the indigo is used to make beautiful textiles. Oh, look how beautiful. I just love the illustrations too, how it's like, it has this texture of, you know, fabric, of all indigo fabric, kind of, you know, as the background, probably from all over the world, you know, like this looks kind of Japanesey to me. Maybe it's Korean. And so here we learn more about juk and the Korean history. It's the same thing, you know, because it's like they grow the fibers, what they weave with, you know, take the fibers, turn it into some kind of, you know, yarn or thread. Then they weave the fabric by hand. And then we get to the dyeing part, which is in itself also an art form. And that's why those textiles, you know, I mean, it's like a artisan, it's like an art, you know, it's like a piece of art. And I don't know, so like, I think indigo is just, it's nature, and it's just, it's a beautiful gradation of blues. It reminds you of the ocean or the sky. I don't know, everything about indigo is soothing and wonderful. And so, Rosa Chang is a visual artist and a natural indigo dyer. So I'm sure she dyes with more skill than my daughters did. And a graduate of Maryland Institute College of Art, MICA. And has had work exhibited in the, so this is her daily picture, but it's not just like, oh, I want to write a picture book. It's like this feels like this is her life work, working in indigo dye and being a visual artist. That's very cool, you know. I'm going to make sure, it looks like a picture book, like a simple picture book, but I really think it's like an advanced picture book, you know. I don't know, ages 6 and up, possibly even, you know, maybe 6, maybe 5. But there's a lot of information that, sometimes this type of information is more in the end note, but this is the information about, you know, the nonfiction aspect is incorporated into the story. But I'm going to make sure my kids, my daughters especially, get to read this book because they'll get a big kick out of it. So thank you to Mind Edition for this book. It's just a beautiful treasure and reminds us about, you know, way before fast fashion, textiles was, you know, a very much a artisan craft and art form. And it still exists, that way of making fabric and using dye to make, you know, beautiful patterns. And it still exists. It's just, you know, got to find the artisan and buy it from them. It's not the cheapest, but it is, you know, you're literally wearing art. Okay, thank you.